Hey guys, and welcome to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. In this video today, we are going to be doing a tier list of upcoming FPGA gaming projects, and in particular, the next generation of FPGA gaming, or at least a slight leap up. Now, I'm a big fan of the MiSTer FPGA. I also love devices like the Analogue Pocket, but in particular, we're going to be focusing on something that may have the potential to replace or to supersede the MiSTer FPGA. Now, I'm going to be completely honest here, nothing will ever replace my MiSTer. We can get a shiny new toy, something that's more powerful. The MiSTer will always have its place for me. It captures a whole bunch of games, arcade games, console and computer cores that I enjoy, and nothing can take that away. But hey, in the future we may get stuff like Dreamcast, we may get more powerful arcade games. Possibilities are there, and you know, previously it was the MiSTer and it was a few devices from Analogue that eventually got jailbroken. There's a lot of stuff happening, so I'm going to start. Oh, by the way guys, you're going to find out something kind of exclusive here. I'm under NDA, so I can't disclose too many details, but I have spoken to the project owner, and I can reveal just some stuff, and it may raise more questions than answers, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. So we're going to start with the top. We are going to start with the S tier, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the DE10 Nano here. And you might be saying to yourself, well, it's not that powerful, it's only got 138k logic elements, 28,000 more than the MiSTer FPGA itself, which equates to around 25%. However, there are advantages to it, but the most important thing to remember here, guys, is if you're as old as me, you may remember a format called Betamax. You had Betamax and you had VHS before the days of like DVDs and Blu-rays. VHS. Now, Betamax was around and they went head to head. Betamax was better. It was better quality. Everything about that tech was better than VHS, but VHS is what got adopted. VHS is what went more commercial, and that is what became the main driving force. So it's not always down to the power, it's down to adoption. Now, the main person behind the MiSTer FPGA project, Sorge, if they decide, you know what, I'm going to support the DE10 Nano, I can tell you now that is where the vast majority of people are going to head. Even if there are more powerful FPGAs on the horizon, the MiSTer has the framework. If this gets the MiSTer's framework, and then it starts improving on cores like the N64, the AL486, we start seeing more arcade systems come on there. We see stuff like CPS3, because at the moment Hattego is working on it, but it's debatable as to whether it will fit on the MiSTer or not. So again, something really cool there. Remember, it's the support, if this gets the support from the developers. And I can tell you, like, based on everything I've seen within the community in the last 24 hours, it really does look like this is going to get support, the DE10 Nano. I think the price is $248 if you're not an academic. Let's face it, most of us aren't academics, so we'll be paying the $248. Slightly more than the DE10 Nano, but it does have onboard SD RAM, and it does have a lot of advantages. Right, now here, the MiSTer FPGA, right? So if any of you guys are regular on this channel, then I did an interview with Hattego recently where Hattego let the cat out of the bag. When we were talking, he said he's got a next generation FPGA on his desk that he's waiting to start work on, right? So guys, I'm going to put the cat out of the bag as well. I've known about this for a long time, and it's something I'm definitely very excited about. I've been getting constant updates, but I am under NDA. I cannot discuss anything about it. All I can say is yes, Hattego has one. Another prominent developer in the FPGA gaming scene has one. The framework is almost complete, and honestly, I can't wait for this to get out there in the wild. I can't wait to show you stuff regarding this MiSTer FPGA gaming device, shall we call it? Or honestly, I don't want to say too much, right? This is going to be awesome, and I'm going to put that in S tier because this is a device that's putting gaming first. It's like it's purpose built. Everything is there. It's so customizable, and those of you guys that like to tinker will absolutely love this. So that's the MiSTer FPGA. Without giving you too much more anxiety out there, you know. Oh, and I also want to rule out this isn't the Taki Udon one. I know some people say, or some people come to the conclusion that the MiSTer FPGA next gen board that Hatego mentioned in the recent interview on my channel may have been a Tachyon one. It is not. I just want to kind of confirm that out there. It is not that. Most people don't know what it is. There's only very few people that know what it is. But guys, stay tuned to the channel because I will be bringing you news on that first before anyone else out there. So stay tuned and keep up with FPGA gaming. Right. So the Replay 2. The Replay 2, I was kind of deciding, shall I put it A tier or shall I put it S tier? And do you know what? I feel like it belongs in S tier, and I'll give you my reasons why, right? So something that I thoroughly respect here is the DE25 Nano, for example, is if it uses the MiSTer's framework, it's going to be done by the main person that initiated the MiSTer FPGA project. Sorgely, if he brings his own framework and then improves it and makes tweaks to it, that's his own framework. The MiSTer FPGA has its own framework. It's not using anyone else's work. The Replay 2, for that reason, I'm putting it in the S tier because it's been a long time in the making. However, the guys are transparent. There's no disappearing acts there. They are available. You can head over to the Discord, see exactly what they're getting up to. And the FPGA boards that are using are from the Agilix 5 range, at least for like the higher end one, and it has a lot of logic elements. I can't remember now, but a lot more than 138. We're talking like, you know, maybe 400,000 or so. I can't remember off the top of my head because I've not been following it so closely recently. But the guys have put in like SD RAM, even though they didn't want to use it, but it'll make it easier to get older cores working on that, as in getting all the MiSTer cores over. They're trying to set stuff in their framework so all the MiSTer stuff can come over as well as new cores. So yeah, I'm going to put that into S. I was kind of debating A or S, but I feel like these guys need to get into S. Right, now when it comes to A category, when I look at all of these down here, honestly, I don't think any of these I could honestly put in the A category. Originally, it was going to be S, A, and then we're going to go B, C, and D, right? So we're going to skip A, and we're going to go down to B. And the two, I think there's going to be two that are going to go down in B, right? Which are going to be, let's go with MiSTer Pi 2. And Tachyon has said, I remember a Discord message recently saying the MiSTer Pi 2 is expected to have around 400,000 logic elements, which is around the same potentially as the Replay 2. Don't quote me on that exact number. I'm really sorry I haven't got a figure to hand here right now. So Tachyon said that, so that's a lot of logic elements. However, as much as I love Tachi's MiSTer Pi that I have, it's not his own original framework. He is piggybacking off the MiSTer FPGA. The same way if I buy like a contract with EE or buy like a cheaper provider called, there's one here in the UK called 1P, they're piggybacking off another network. So I love the MiSTer Pi, I love Tachi's work, I love the Superstation 1 that he's doing. I'm looking forward to the handheld. However, it's not an original project like these ones up here with its own original framework. It is something that is using someone else's framework, a different project's framework. Nothing wrong with that. It's dandy, it's allowed. However, it's not an original one. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the next gen. Is it going to be, if it's going to be an original framework and it's going to be built from the ground up for the MiSTer Pi 2, then it can get bumped up to an A or an S. Maybe we can revisit it later. Do tell me if you like this tier maker stuff. Like I said, I used to like watching the FGC stuff, like watching a Street Fighter playlist or a King of Fighters or a different fighting game out there to get an idea of where the characters stand. So I definitely found it interesting. So if it is original framework, then it gets bumped up. But if you're using someone else's framework, then yeah, it's going to go down. So I'm not exactly sure what they're going to use there, what Tachi or Retro Remake are going to do. I am going to say, though, that Tachi is a smart guy, so there may be some talk, some deals happening in the background where the MiSTer Pi 2 will support a certain something. Maybe that will be the MiSTer 2. Who freaking knows? But until I find out more, it's going to remain at B. And I think alongside them, I have to put Herber. Now, I know Herber have done a lot of projects. They've got stuff like Raspberry Pis out there with gaming stuff on there, not something that interests me, and they've been around a long time. However, their MiSTer multi-system, which is great, was very, very popular. They've even got a MiSTer multi-system too, which in my opinion has a really, really good price, considering that it's built in the United Kingdom and it's brought the price down, and other sellers weren't able to compete with stuff like the MiSTer Pi and the QM Tech. Even though it's not as cheap, it's cheaper than going to a different seller. So not quite as cheap as QM Tech and MiSTer Pi, but the MiSTer multi-system 2 is slightly more, maybe like 20-25% more, something that if you want it in a hurry, let's say when it gets in regular stock, you can get it. So they've been talking specifically today. This is kind of what incentivized me to do this. So they were talking about, like, they worked on a next gen system, they had issues with 4K, but they came out quite open on the MiSTer FPGA forum as well as the Discord server, saying that look, they don't want to compete, there's a lot of projects, they'd rather work in collaboration, they want to know from the community what they would like to see. However, based on their MiSTer multi-system, which is using the MiSTer, it's using the MiSTer's work, it's just packaged different. You know, it's like you can buy the same donut from Tesco's, or you can repackage it and buy it from a shop like Harrods. It's the same thing in a different package. So nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't get an A or an S. It's cool. A lot of people are very happy. In fact, the last video I did a few hours ago was just talking about how great and how much people are enjoying their MiSTer multi-system too. However, whatever the next gen one is going to be, you know, they're looking for collaborations like they're saying. So is it going to be their own one? I highly doubt it. It may well be whatever the next gen kind of open source is, and then they can make a project to tailor that. They can make some cool accessories. Recently they've shown an add-on that lets you run Game Boy carts on the MiSTer, and it's real time. It's booting up real time. To be honest, Taki has shown that as well on the Superstation 1. So a lot of innovation there, but not original framework. Right, okay, so C tier. So C tier, I'm going to kind of put Mod Retro, the M64 here. Now I know, I know the owner, to say the nicest thing about him is a dodgy character, and that's how everyone sees him. I get that, but it's a product in FPGA gaming. And most recently there was an article on a website called The Memory Core that said, where the head of marketing, I can't remember the guy's name, Lee something, kind of mentioned that they want to make this open source, whether it's going to be open source like the Open FPGA or the Analogue Pocket, or it's just going to be completely open source, firmware, cores, everything. We don't exactly know. Mod Retro are a company, but the owner doesn't really need the money, so maybe he's doing it for his love of retro gaming, who knows. But that kind of leaves it open. It's $200, and you may be enjoying a heap of other cores on there. As well as that, they've recruited one of the best FPGA gaming developers out there, a guy that's known to make the impossible possible, none other than FPGA Zoomspaz, or by his real name, Robert Pape. They developed the N64 core for the MiSTer. They kind of hit a limit where they couldn't complete it, and they put it down to hardware limitations. So the FPGA being used in the M64 has now given Robert Pape the ability to complete the N64 core completely, which tells us it's a more powerful FPGA than the DE10 Nano, which is the FPGA used in the MiSTer. So there might be some more stuff coming with that, but we don't really know too much. Plus it's a commercial big company that's doing it. So until we get more details of exactly what cores we're going to get, exactly how they're going to go on there, it's going to start off in a C. But like I said, guys, if you like these videos, I'll try and save a picture of this. So I should have maybe made an account, but yeah, I'll try and save it so maybe we can revisit it and have like a reshuffle later, you know, maybe 6 months from now, a year from now, when stuff's out there, to see exactly where we are at. Right, alongside with C, I am going to put the Analogue 3D. And I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, wait, this only does the N64. However, it does do it in 4K. Okay, given it's not going to support multiple cores, and that's not what being advertised. However, previous analog consoles have received the jailbreak where more cores have been playable on there. That could well be the case over here, especially given the fact that we've got more players entering the market. There are more people bringing products, especially the M64 coming on there and saying that they're going to have an open source side. They literally, the way the article was written was like, they want to be the MiSTer FPGA's replacement. They want to be a multi-system machine that you go to and use. So, you know, I may decide, okay, you know what, we were only going to do the N64, we were going to do it in 4K, but maybe that isn't enough. Let's give people some more options. So maybe there'll be some additional systems on there, additional arcades, maybe even some more powerful systems that the powerful FPGA in the Analogue 3D can handle. Again, these are just kind of like my opinions on there. Take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. Apart from this mystery FPGA, guys, this is going to be banging. I can't wait to tell you more when the time comes. So make sure you're subscribed and press that like button. Or if I'm annoying you too much, press that dislike button. But press one of those damn buttons, right? Okay. So then there was a project called Mars, which kind of came out guns blazing. So what happened with this? Imagine if you're there to run a marathon, but you don't realize that, and you just go out guns blazing, running out, and after like a 400-meter dash, you're exhausted. These guys came with a star-studded lineup. They promised the world, and I don't think I've heard anything from the Mars team or anyone from Mars for about a year now. I'm not saying that it's completely obsolete, it's cancelled, it's gone. We haven't heard anything official. However, there's not really much out there beyond some renders and some captured footage from like a Dreamcast with a HDMI mod. So we haven't really seen anything. We saw like something at a trade show, but it was like a game that didn't show any of its potential. It was like a very, very low end kind of technical game that you can run on a MiSTer like easily. It wasn't anything that was like wow and jaw dropping. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, whether Mars is still a thing, whether it's been cancelled, whether it's happening, whether it's not. Have no idea. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll see what kind of surfaces with that. And finally, the meme category, the Super Sega. And hopefully you guys didn't pre-order this. I know some people did. This is just the meme category, man. The guy goes on, he does live streams. It's got to the point now where I get an update, I just don't even bother looking at it. So this kind of came out. It promised to be a ultimate Sega console, playing Dreamcast games, playing Master System, Mega Drive, pretty much everything under the sun. In fact, you know, it was promising so much that if it probably rained, an umbrella would have popped out with a Sega logo in there and kept you dry. But yeah, that's the joke category, man. I mean, if anything was the surface out of that, it would have by now. But a lot of people paid, and then their money was taken straight away, and then they had to do a chargeback. So to say the best thing about it, it was a bit of a circus show. And, you know, the main guy, the face of it, Alejandro, definitely doesn't know how to park a Lamborghini. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that. I just stopped keeping up with it, and I just see it as a giant meme. So guys, before I end this video, so where are we going in S tier? We're going DE25 Nano, because it's available and it might get adopted, and all the chatter that's happening just seems like this might be the next one. You know, it may not be the most powerful thing that you want, but it's definitely a step up, right? I mean, some people are saying it's a step sideways, but it might be a diagonal step instead of a step forward, right? A diagonal step at like, I don't know, like I can't even remember the degrees now. So the mystery FPGA, guys, this is something that I'm really excited about. If you've been following my channel for a long time, you know the reason I got into FPGA gaming was after trying Hertego's CPS2 and CPS1 cores around a friend's house. So with Hertego having access to this board and being one of the prominent developers, there's another prominent developer as well that has access and has been working on this. For him to have it and to be supporting it, we know we're going to get all the arcade cores, we're going to get potentially new cores that may not be able to fit on lesser FPGA. So I'm really excited about that. The team behind it are also very, very experienced. Everything just seems to be airtight with this. So more details about that as time goes. And Replay 2, yeah, that's something I've followed for a while. It has been delayed and delay after delay after delay, but that's one thing that I'm learning in retro gaming. Delays just always happen, but the team are just so transparent, man. They're just so freaking nice. You go on there and they're just talking about everything that is happening. So I really do hope that comes to surface, because it is a powerful bleeding edge FPGA of the Agilex 5 range with many logic elements. I just can't remember the number now, but yeah, that's freaking awesome. And then A, we've kind of skipped A because I don't think anything else comes kind of close to that. I mean, I could have done A and then gone down B, so make of it how you will. All of this is pretty metaphorical. Then in B, we've got the MiSTer Pi, or the MiSTer Pi 2, and whatever Herbert may be doing as a next gen one, unless they're doing the original framework. If they're borrowing, or if they're working with someone else's framework or someone else's project and just kind of making that better, then yeah, they're going to be in B. C, you've got the commercial companies, which are, yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, these are commercial companies as well, but we've got the M64 and the Analogue 3D, because primarily there are N64 consoles. The M64 potentially saying that they're going to run other cores. Analogue 3D, I guess we'll find out in time. Mars came out guns blazing, looked very, very promising, promised the world, but unfortunately we've just not heard anything from them for about a year. And Super Sega, do I really need to say anything? Anyway, guys, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Do let me know if you want to see, like, yeah, if we can go and revisit this and shuffle this around a bit. I have to say I did enjoy doing this, but yeah, guys, be awesome to one another. This is Pixel Cherry Ninja out.